So hot.
Dun, dun,
Right here.
dun, dun, dun. Let's go. It's been a long time. Real quick before we even begin this show, it's been a while, by the way. Let's make sure A, the audio is good. Hopefully, the audio is good. And B, let's make sure there's no internet glitches. All right. So, any internet glitches out there? Are you able to maybe see it here? I'm not quite sure. But let's check that out. Jack is already out there. Jack is everything pretty copacetic, smooth, no glitching and freezing, because that tends to happen a lot, especially when it is so hot.
Mm-hmm. Has
Right?
everybody else been dealing with super hot temperatures? Maybe in Europe? I don't think, aren't they? Probably not, right? Well, didn't you say Italy had?
Like Greece and
Mhm.
has anyone been dealing with abnormally hot weather? It's been ridiculously hot, and not just for a day or two. It's been like nearly 3 weeks, a month, maybe somewhere give or take. That it's just been unbearably hot, nonstop all the way through. So we'll trickle down about 30 more seconds, and just to make sure there's no glitching with the audio. I don't know if you're able to see it there. Do you think you could pull it up there? Just because we have a lot of material. We haven't done this in a while because of the lack of rain, which usually gives us time off the courts to do so, and as well, um, our kids are back in school, so it's a little bit more arduous to say the least. So pretty good.
Mhm.
All right, you can freeze that, pause it. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to, in no particular order, go ahead and get into our normal majors 2 week coverage. Again, we did this every day for years. And by the way, Carla, today I realized that it is our 6th year. That is six. In Spanish, that is uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, siete.
Seis.
It is año siete.
Seis.
Seis años.
Yeah.
It is our 6th year of doing this. So this is our 6th U.S. Open. It seems like just yesterday we began. So we are going to go to, in no particular order, a lot of things. So number one, hopefully everybody is well, and it's good to be here for our 6th U.S. Open. Okay. All right. 6 years ago today, Carla indicated that Novak Djokovic would not win his 17th major. And here he is, his 17th, mind you. Okay. So, Carla,
I said that?
yeah, you said
You got
that.
proof of that? I thought I said he would never win like 23, 24, 25.
Well, you said that as he passed that number, So she predicted he wouldn't get his 17th, and then she predicted that once he
I didn't
tied.
predict. I said he wouldn't.
Said he would
There's
not.
a difference predicting, but yeah.
So I didn't tell you.
I
about,
said that?
Yeah, I didn't tell you about this, but I went to our first U.S. Open show 5 years ago. This is our 6th year. And I listened to like the first half hour of it, give or take, not verbatim, but in the shower, letting it play. And during that show, Carla made another bold statement. Carla indicated that Alexander Dolgopolov.
No, wait.
Yeah, you did. So in this show, she predicted that not only that Novak Djokovic would not win his 17th major, but that Alexander Dolgopolov would be the next Rafael Nadal.
No, I never said that. I said I liked him. He would be like number one. I never said he would be the next Rafa.
You're more.
That's bullshit.
I agree. Yeah. Okay, so you did say he's a really spunky guy.
I like spunky guys.
Spunky.
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously wrong.
Yes, they're very wrong at that one.
But so many of you have been wrong about so many things, just like you with Pliskova. I mean, been wrong. Look at Badoza.
I still have love for Pliskova, though.
She's a dumbass. Anyway.
Stefano Tsitsipas and Paula Badosa are a direct correlation between both of them's iffy play in the past since they've been a pair, right?
Before that, her game was him too.
Yeah, too many distractions when you have the love of your life right when you're getting to the prime of your career. There's nothing wrong with having the love of your life.
I think her career was kind of like going down anyways, but I think COVID helped her, and then when COVID disappeared, then and everybody came back to play, her game kind of went.
Oddly enough, Badosa was kind of no matter what anyway. Like she had a good year, and everybody's like, oh, Badosa.
I never thought her game was great anyways. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't see anything fancy. She looked like every other tennis player on the tour that's trying to survive.
Didn't she get hot right in the middle of the COVID?
Yeah.
Did she get hot right then?
Yeah, it was during COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like Raducanu who? Huh? Raducanu who? What?
Yeah, it's like Andreescu. It's such a shame. I'm like, two players that pulled out. One has a stress fracture in the back, and the other one's dealing with lesion pains or something like that. Yeah.
Raducanu who?
Mm-hmm.
Raducanu who? What about the other who? What about the other who? Andreescu? Andreescu? Wait a minute. Wasn't Bianca Andreescu supposed to have played Venus Williams in the first round, and then Andreescu, Raducanu? I think they share an apartment.
No,
in Canada.
Badosa was supposed to play Venus Williams.
Oh yes, and then she pulled out, and Venus, I think, gets a lucky loser there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's possible that Venus Williams paid off
No.
Badosa to go ahead and?
No, more like it would be embarrassing if she lost to the mummy. You know, she's losing to someone that's my age that should not be playing tennis anymore.
Yeah, Jose P says, can Venus beat Badosa?
They're not playing though.
Yes, she pulled out. Badosa pulled out. But if they were playing one another, I don't think so. Hence why I said, do you think it was a conspiracy in a way? Did Venus pay off Badosa so as she could so Venus could get that one round win?
No.
Now, speaking of first round wins, did you read, Carla, that if you win the first round, the main draw on either the men's side or women's side, you are guaranteed $81,500, whereas in the past couple of years, if you won the first round, you were guaranteed like 32,000, give or take.
Because the world has gotten more expensive. So, I mean, yeah, they need to be able to pay their bills. Traveling is a lot more expensive. Food is more expensive. Lodging is more expensive.
Airfare, lodging, you name it.
Yeah, I mean, so tennis equipment for those that are not sponsored, coaching. Yeah, they definitely need the money. They should have doubled that, of course.
Yeah, and if you're a player that frequently goes through rackets, not because you're smashing them, but because they give out over time. You recover and push off type thing. Anyway, tennis rackets. When say I was 12 or 13 years old, whether it was a Wilson Ultra 2 or a Labor autograph or whatever it was, brand new, they were $70, $80, and that was very expensive back in the day, right? Mm-hmm. Fast forward to like when you and I were like high school, like just before the college years, we were playing with what? Prince Pros, original Pro Staffs, Prince Comps, Yonex, whatever. And those rackets at that time frame were, like $120 a piece new for the best of the best. Fast forward to like the early 2000s or like 2006, 7, 8, when like the first era Babolat Aero Pro drives came out. Now it's pure Aero. I think they were like $179, give or take, for the best of the best. Fast forward to like 2012, 13, and we'll flip it to say the Babolat Pure Aero, when Babolat kind of changed it up a little bit, the Wilson Ultra started to come out. Those sticks are like $209.99. Fast forward to the middle of the teens, 2015, 16, 17, 18, the Wilson Clashes start breaking the $230, $239 mark. And then fast forward to now, the current Pro Staffs, the current Pure Aeros, you're talking $269, $270. So my question is, are the same materials that were made in these rackets since the 90s any different than they are today? Or is it the weakness of the dollars that we print with nothing to back it? And it's called inflation kicking you in the ass. Which one is it?
Inflation kicking you in the ass.
I mean, damn, I saw the new Wilson Strike. Isn't that what it's called? Shift, the Wilson Shift. Like, shift on these if you think I'm going to pay $270 for a damn racket.
But he's a well-off guy. So.
Yeah, shift up on these, man.
He was playing with it, but then again, he was playing with relics before, so he did need to upgrade.
Let me shift this racket in your ear.
Hitchhiker said, what are the chances of ruin? We'll talk about that later on.
Yes, and that's a great question, Hitchhiker. We're going to talk about that extensively.
Jose P said, would love to hear your thoughts on Cincinnati final, and we'll talk about that.
We are going to talk about that. And Jesus, what's up, bro? Good to hear from you down there. Didn't we send Jesus strings? Mm-hmm. Didn't we send Jesus strings?
Yeah,
did you get them, bro?
Yeah, he replied already.
All right, and by the way, a couple of the comments, Hitchhiker, Jose P, mom out there, what's up? Hitchhiker. as you can see, we haven't done a fantasy team video because, as you know, over the past 5 years, Carl and I, and as well, shout out to Ivor Savage, a personal friend of ours that happens to own the company Y-Tech Strings. By the way, he is going to be sending us, if not already, stuff to be giving out through this U.S. Open. The only reason why we haven't done a fantasy team this one is because we really haven't had an influx. You know, there's always only 8, 9, 10 people that play. That's still, you know, respectable, but given our workload now, driving an hour one way, an hour back, and teaching all day, it's hard for us to do everything to keep that going. But we are going to do this. So mark this right now at 10:25. We are going to do a $150 cash giveaway. So I'll make this quick. If you followed this channel for the past 5, 6 years, you'll understand how easy this is, and you can just pencil whip something and it's no problem. Okay, so we're going to give away $150 or the same amount and gear from Y-Tech Strings, from Ivor Savage personally. What's up, Ivor? What's up, Team Y-Tech? We're going to give out $150 cash or that equivalent of Y-Tech's gear, strings, dampeners, grips, grip bands, whatever, for whoever can predict both men's finalists, both women's finalists, and both winners. So let's say I feel like Carlos Alcaraz is going to meet Novak Djokovic in the final, and I feel like that Djokovic is going to win. And then I feel like that Aryna Sabalenka is going to meet Iga Swiatek in the final, and I think Swiatek will win. I just pencil whip that because that's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, at least is what I remember. If I hit that correctly, I get sent $150 or that amount in terms of Y-Tech's gear. So here's the caveat, though. If you do play that, make sure that you put your selections in the comment section of this video and this video alone, not the videos we do for the rest of the U.S. Open, but in this one and this one alone. So as Carla and I get back at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and we've left here at 4:30 in the morning. That way we can just go to one place and find it and be done with it. All right, $150 for anyone that can predict the men's final, the women's final, and both winners. All right, leave your answers in this comment section. Got it. Okay, fair enough. All right, moving
Jose P said, Justin, were you ever a Wilson guy?
Yes. So Jose P, an interesting question, and I'll give you an interesting, hopefully interesting answer. I was in a town called, I think it was Hemet, California at this point. My mom's out there, Anna Davis in the chat. So I had an older sister. I say that because she passed away of breast cancer not terribly long ago, about 2 years ago. Fine player, wonderful player. So when I was, say, 6 and she was 10, or whether it was I was 8 and she was 12, whatever. She was sponsored by a company called Niesel. They did this 5-star. Matter of fact, this was her racket. This was her 5-star Niesel. This was hers. So she used to have crates of these things, right? Now, Niesel is also a builder of things like snow skis, etc. Anyway, but this was the Niesel 5-star. So when I was young, I had a, what was it, a Bancroft. I think, where's my Bancroft? Anyway, I played with a Bancroft Woody, right? And my sister finally started playing with this thing. And I was so jealous that my older sister had a graphite racket and I had this stupid Woody thing. Now I look back and I'm like, we have Whites and Woodies tournaments at our club, right? Like we enjoy it. But then I just felt like a dumbass every time I walked on the court because I had to carry this Whites and damn wood, or carry this wooden racket everywhere I went. So it was kind of indicated to me that you have to be able to be successful on the tennis court before you are rewarded with the next stuff up. So I had to, and it wasn't just a wooden racket, it was also Tourna grip. So when I was a kid, it was leather grips. It wasn't a Tourna grip on top of it. That was a luxury. So my sister had a graphite racket and a Tourna grip, the blue Tourna grips, right? And I wanted those so bad, but I wasn't allowed to have it until I showed success on the court and win some tournaments. So I played with the Bancroft Bantam Junior Woody until I finally crossed that barrier and ended up getting my first graphite racket, which was a Wilson Ultra 2. So standard head, 68 square inches. Finally had a V in the throat, had some graphite in my hand, and it was a Wilson Ultra 2. Okay, so that's when I started with the Prince Graphite, or excuse me, the Wilson Ultra 2. Then after that, I went to a mixture of Prince Graphite, the 90 with the little V in the neck. What's up, Mark Moore? You know about that racket. He played with that. And then more along the lines of the original Pro Staff, the original 85. And then you had some of these like big 110s, like the Prince Comp 110s.
I had a Wilson Hammer too.
Yeah, the big sucker. Does anybody remember the Wilson profile? It had like this tapered. It was like a diamond, like it from the side of the racket, like this. It was like tapered from the top and then came down at the bottom. So there was so much weight in the middle of the racket and so little towards the third of the head. When you hit, it would like bend back and like throw the ball off. So it was like a big flex machine. It was gnarly. All right, what's up, Zest for Life? Hoga Rune is recovering from injury, and he's had a bad record on outdoor hard courts. What's up, Sebastian Corda? I think Sebastian Corda just had a terrible time with his ankle, didn't he?
Yeah, I think I wrote something. I'm like, this guy is always injured. Will never come close to winning. Ever come close to winning.
Yeah, what's up, Travis Bickle?
As a matter of
good
fact,
to see you as well.
I have him losing in the first round to my boy Ironman.
Fusovic.
Yeah, so I don't even think he'll get past the first round. I think so many people had hope for him, but I never thought much of him anyways. I think it's always tough to be better than your parents if they were, really good at that sport. I think that they should maybe try a different sport like Steffi Graf's and Andre Agassi's. Wow, that was a high jump. And Andre Agassi's son, he picked baseball, probably smarter.
I saw that.
Yeah.
This cat over here just almost jumped from the ground and almost got to the ceiling.
Yeah, skills, boy.
It's like attacking a fly over there.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. I wanted to read this comment I just saw, and it's from Jose P. Jose P says, and I quote, "The Czech women will have a good U.S. Open." I would love to understand why.
Well, you have Muhova.
Why is it the Czech women though?
Muhova has a very, very promising draw. The other one, Kvitova Czech, is another one I put down. Who's the other one? I don't know what I put. I thought those were the only two that had a great chance.
Interesting. I'd love to hear his response on that. Maybe it's
Puskova's no.
Maybe it's just the draws. I would love to hear it. Zest for Life mentioned something that's pretty fun. John Isner. Where did it go? It's going pretty quickly.
This is his last
I
US
saw
Open.
it. Where did it go? Oh no. Where I'm losing it. Do you see Isner in the comments?
Is another Czech player.
Anyway, I think it disappeared, but he mentioned, will Isner win his first Grand Slam in his last tournament?
No.
Can anybody correctly predict? I tell you what, if anyone can correctly predict John Isner's first match set scores, I'll go ahead and send out the first giveaways from YTech Strings, or I'll even equal that value with some of the 5K tennis shirts, so forth. Like here's like one of them. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and predict his first round score. Can I predict that?
Sure.
Okay, so John Isner plays, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who he plays. It doesn't matter if he plays Djokovic or if he plays Nishioka. The score is going to be the same. 7-6, 6-7, 7-6, 6-7, 7-6, 7-6, 97, 95, and then they'll change the rules for that given tournament based upon his score and the fifth set.
I think he's a little bit older. He might be tired to do 7-6. He might go 6-4.
Yeah. Speaking about John Isner, about 2 years ago, I think, a young man. Oh no!
Stop! I just clicked the wrong. There we go.
Oh, party foul. Oh yeah, be careful there, girl. Getting careless here. So a couple years ago, I think two, if not less, a young man that we were teaching, Miller Crane. What's up, Miller Crane? Gave us a John Isner tennis card at the rookie level. So tennis used to have like baseball cards, but for tennis.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have it. I have it hanging on my old Transformers and G.I. Joe vintage toy wall. I have this John Isner card. So my question is my card now about to jump through the roof in terms of value?
Maybe. I mean, he's got a good match. He was granted a wild card. And his first round is against a guy named Acosta Facundo Diaz from Argentina. So he has a very winnable match, and then his second opponent could be Hachinov or Michael Mo, and that's where I think he'll go down, or maybe win, depending on what the U.S. crowd decides to do.
Yeah, when you mentioned Michael Mo, I was reminded about an incident that happened recently, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm looking for your input here. There's two brothers that I think are Swedish. What is it? Michael Ymer Yimmer, last name Ymer, Yimmer. When you said Michael Moe, I was thinking
No,
Yimmer.
that's different. That's
But
different.
it
He's
didn't-
from the USA.
Didn't one of the Yimmers just now
Yeah, retire.
retire for tennis because of the desire to not take a drug test?
Right.
Is that correct?
He failed to take it like 3 times or something like that.
Okay, so let's think about this for a minute. So not that this is a big deal in terms of the player and its direct impacts on the U.S. Open, the draw, and the outcome, but let's look at the situation and how this ties into someone like Rafael Nadal and Justin Henin. How does the Yimmer retirement because he didn't want to take a drug test relate to Nadal and Justin Henin?
How does it relate?
How does it relate?
How does it relate to
Okay.
Nadal never refused a test.
Okay, let me go ahead and and you can call me a conspiracy theorist because I always get this of all the years we've been doing this and for all the years before we even hit camera play 6 years ago. Justine Henin, and I have her picture here, right?
Did they say she retired because she didn't want to take a test?
No, but there's
Oh.
speculation, and you're not going to find it on global media. You're going to find it in the channels of people that have been around the game at the highest levels, whether in the stringing room, on the practice court, in the nutritionist realm, in the training realm. In other words, in the inside. It's not going to be for the outside bubble. So in 2007, and I've said this before, in 2007 and 8, I was able to go to the U.S. Open in terms of an apprenticeship for something other than playing stringing. Anyway, and I had an opportunity to meet Justine Henin, her trainer, her nutritionist, and the entire team. And I can tell you they were absolutely masterclass. She was masterclass. The team was masterclass. Everything was absolutely the way it should be. Well run, very disciplined from the top to the bottom. Okay. Fast forward to a year and a half later, Justine Henin subsequently retired from tennis. Now, by the way, that U.S. Open, I have a picture with her holding the trophy right in front of Ash Stadium with her holding her cup. She beat Kuznetsova, who in that tournament, Kuznetsova had beaten Serena Williams in the semifinals and came out victorious, Henin over Kuznetsova in the final. Shortly after that, she was in her prime and subsequently retired from the game of tennis. Now, those on the inside indicated that because she did not want to have to subject herself to doping tests, she retired. I guess there was, now this can be conspiracy. There's no proof of this.
I never heard of that, but
no proof.
I mean, there's hearsay, but
Hearsay,
I never heard anyone.
But
say
it was
that.
discussed. Now, how does this relate to Rafael Nadal? If you guys go back to the year 2010, especially 2010, when Rafael came out, won the U.S. Open, and came out looking like Darth Vader in all black, sleeveless shirt, short pants, black short shorts, black from head to toe, including the socks. Homeboy looked jacked up. He looked like Mike Tyson out there. Look at Rafael Nadal in 2010, and then compare him to, say, Rafael Nadal in the final versus Federer in 2008 at Wimbledon.
He still looks jacked up.
Agreed, but that's the Australian Open. That's like Australian Open 3 years ago.
He's always been jacked up, though.
What I'm getting at is when Rafael Nadal became underneath the limelight for being, hey man, this guy's big. Maybe we should check out some dope testing information here. At the same point in time, a Spanish physician, a Spanish doctor in Spain, whistle blew on quote unquote an unsaid amount of Spanish athletes that definitely cheat the system by taking PEDs. Now, at that same point in time, he mentioned there was a handful of tennis players, no names. Okay. After that, you notice Nadal said, I got an injury. I can't play for a while. Then the conspiracy grew. What I'm saying is there was.
The guy's not even playing for talking about it. We haven't even got to topic 1 yet. And we've been at this 23 minutes.
Let's freaking go. That's how we roll.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Anyway, all right.
Haters.
I'm not even. Look, I've got
Haters.
I got 6 pages, and I'm not even past.
Haters.
I'm not even past the 4th line. Okay, let's get into topic number 1. Okay. Topic number 1. Thoughts on the last final. That is the ATP 1000 final in Cincinnati. That involved Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic as well. We're going to touch on that final between Coco Gauff finally getting her first win versus Iga Swiatek. She was 7-0, if I remember correctly, before that final, and Coco Gauff made it 7-1. we'll start with the Djokovic Alcaraz match. Now, I must say, I'm going to put myself in the line of fire and tell you that for at least a couple of years now, Michael Walker knows this. I'm surprised Michael Walker's not out there. Van Lee, what's up out there, bro?
He might be at the Arthur Ashe Kids Day. Isn't that
yeah. So Van Lee asks, Carla, has your son impressed you this year? And if he's talking about the youngest one, then yes, we have.
Alcaraz. No, he's talking about Alcaraz.
Oh, man, I think talking about little man.
No, don't you understand? Because Christopher kind of looks like him, so they say that's my son.
Oh.
So I said yes, he has. After the last match, I feel like yes, Carlos Alcaraz has impressed me.
Yeah. So yes, this fits right into.
Has my little guy impressed me? Of course, yes.
This fits right into the narrative because before this Carlos Alcaraz Djokovic final at Cincinnati, and we watched every second of it. I think a little while ago we had to just listen to it. With Cam Williams. What's up, Cam? We know we love you, bro.
That happened Saturday.
Anyway, so I whether we were driving or not, we were watching it, whether Cam Williams or whether just watching it. And I told Carla for the first time that I've got some respect for Carlos Alcaraz. Like for me,
you kind of watch the match over and over. It was a great it was a really fun match to watch. You got to see Djokovic, his age, finally getting to him a little bit. You could see he was tired. We always know the heat is tough on Djokovic. Always has been, I feel like, That's why I always say the US Open's been the toughest for him, but it's a different type of heat in the United States, I don't know. I mean, he does well at the Australian with the heat. I don't know. But I felt like we finally got to see Djokovic be a little bit human. We saw Alcaraz, play really well and not take his chances, but much respect to both of them. I mean, it was a beautiful match to watch technique-wise. We saw great volleys. We saw great passing shots, great sportsmanship. I mean, it had it all, full of action.
Yeah, and not only that.
It wasn't boring to watch. It was really good.
Yeah, Carlos Alcaraz is very good at using the drop shot, too. He's able to really change up the dynamics of every point by sticking that drop shot in there. And then that's something we teach a lot of our students, especially here in the southeastern region, West Florida. Because a lot of kids aren't used to seeing that drop shot. You're going backhand to backhand, deep top spin. All of a sudden, here comes the drop shot. If you're a right-handed player low into the deuce side, you're like, oh man, where the hell did that come from? So you're running northeast to southeast type thing. Anyway, but for the longest time, I've always felt like Carlos Alcaraz plays too hard. I know that sounds kind of wrong, but plays too hard. In other words, going for a ball backed up in the ad side deep corner next to the fence and sprinting for a drop shot on the deuce side near the net, and then getting there luckily, and then someone coughing up a lob back to where I came from, and then he's sprinting after that one only to miss it to get a round of applause from the crowd. I really feel like he wastes a lot of energy.
He does, and it could be a short career for him if he continues to play that way.
Yeah.
You can't go for everything. I mean, unless you have a shot. I felt like some of the stuff is just over-exaggerating. But, again, we did watch, like you said, a lot of variety in their game. Great to see the net play because you don't see that a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like Djokovic took that match because he decided to move forward. I felt like had he stayed at the baseline, the younger opponent would have won the match. But, I mean, great match overall. I mean, of course, you got to see Djokovic yell at his poor camp, and then him.
That's just part of the deal. That's just the way.
You can relate to him.
Yes, I can relate. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we watch him be an asshole and then, be nice.
I can relate to Djokovic in that sense personally because as a young player or a tournament player, and I know you can as well.
I've never been an asshole to my team, but just saying.
Not that I've been so much as an asshole in terms of in tennis, maybe in a personal life, but I remember young playing tournaments that if my dad was there behind the fence, he would always have like a chair, and it wasn't like in the bleachers. He would find a place right behind the fence, and his chair, if there was a windscreen, he would like have a chair and his head would be just below the windscreen. And no matter if I won the point or lost the point, I would turn my head around and glance and see if I saw my dad sitting there, usually by himself. And he would usually kind of just give me this, just this calm thing that would always keep me going. But I don't feel like Djokovic means anything hostile about.
No, I think he's emotional.
I think he uses it as a way to feel like he has a support group.
I think he's just an emotional guy. He's letting I get it. I mean, he's letting his emotions out, his frustrations out, and I guess they are the ones that can take it. So, I mean, that's how sometimes when you want to get your anger out, you punch a bag.
Yeah, or punch something bad and get hurt.
Or punch, right? They are
Yeah.
his punching bag, so he uses them, you know, and whatever, and then they feed off good energy. They smile through it. So, I mean, whereas Alcaraz does the opposite. He fist pumps too much, way too much, and looks at his camp a lot. You know,
Or let's go after the first
after
point.
every point. You know, I mean, that's that which is annoying. I still find that annoying, but that's his thing. You know.
By the way, I forgot to do this. I just looked at the camera picture on this monitor thing. So shout out to Florence Chan. Florence Chan, what's up, my lady? She has a lights out Djokovic fan. She travels the world with her partner. I don't know if it's her boyfriend or what. So I say
It is. Yes, it is her partner.
And we really enjoy their international travels. And Florence Chan, what's up, my lady? Beautiful young lady. She always gets with Carla and I. And when Djokovic wins a major, she sends us something to put forth for all of you on the show. She has painted this picture here. This one with Nole here that my mom thought was some geopolitical. Anyway, and she painted this Wimbledon picture here. And recently she sent us this Lacoste special edition Djokovic hat. So there's the alligator, and on the back there's the Novak Djokovic. So thank you very much for that. And by the way, for a couple of months I never wore the hat. I put it in a bag, a Ziploc bag, and kind of sealed it, and then put it inside of a grocery bag for double coverage in case the Ziploc bag came undone. And I'm like, why don't I wear this hat? Like, I'm not going to sell it. It's against the karma rules. Like, someone gives you something. If you sell it, then that's a bad thing. It's karma, right? Okay. Anyway, so thank you, Florence. And if Djokovic wins this U.S. Open, maybe Carla and I can send something to you. Okay. All right. Let's break from tennis just for a moment, and let's talk about this ongoing thing with the Spanish meaning Spain, the soccer/football team. Okay, so if any of you follow European football, or as we call it here in the West, soccer, I would like to get your thoughts on this entire dilemma, or let's make it a little bit more truthful, fiasco about this soccer president that is the president or the overseeing entity over the Spanish Soccer League that was so excited about his team winning the World Cup, which is huge. Now, let me put into perspective how, now you guys internationally, there's a lot of you out there, so you'll know way more about this than either of us. But the way that we understand the importance of the World Cup, whether male or female, it should be equal, just so you know our playing field. We definitely believe in equal prize money. We definitely believe in equality. And we definitely believe on there is nothing under God's green earth that we live on except that there is one, and that is all of us, and all of us are equal. Just getting that out of the way now, okay? Doesn't matter race, color, creed, religion, culture, where you from, what school you go to, whatever. We are one. Fact. Okay, just want to get out of the way before I pitch this out there. Okay, so this gentleman, and he seems like a very gung-ho gentleman, by the way. They win their first World Cup. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, that Spain had never won a World Cup before, ever, in terms of women's soccer, football. Never. Okay, they win the World Cup, and after it, the coach is so happy. Now, I hate to do this to you. She's my wife. We have 5 kids, so I don't think it's a big deal. But I would like to act out. I don't mean to be stupid or unprofessional, but I would like to act out this thing. Carla, can you just do with your hands like, yay, yay? Can you just do this? Okay, we just won the World Cup. Just continue to go, yay. Just continue to go, yay. All right, go with tattoos blaring. Here, I'll pull mine out. Okay, we got tattoos blaring. Okay, now go yay. Go yay. Now give me some yays, man. Don't be shy. Give me some yay, yay. We won the World Cup, yay. Runs up to the podium, confetti's flying. He's like, yay, we won the World Cup. Yay. Because of that little excitement, Peck, dude is about,
I disagree with Jose.
Dude's about to get the electric chair.
I disagree with Jose P. I'm looking at her, I can tell.
My daughter,
I can tell she's probably into the other ladies, which is fine.
She probably is a switch hitter, no problem.
No problem. I can tell already being a woman.
Yeah, she's a switch hitter, no problem. No.
In the Spanish culture, and I've lived in many Latin countries, Spanish and Hispanic, they kiss, and they kiss you on the lip, no matter who you meet. No, that's not strange. That's not weird. That's normal.
Yeah, if you go to France,
and then 3, She didn't look disgusted by looking at her. If you notice, the kiss was like a split second. It was quick. He didn't grab her. He was excited. How many times we see coaches, gymnastics, they slap the girls in the butt? I mean, we see the guys do it too. It was excitement. I feel like if she was bothered, she would have done something there. Being that the camera's on her, I mean, she didn't even look shocked. She just kept walking. I feel like we're going overboard here. There's so many things in the world that are bad. I mean, you got presidents that rape women, and you know, you got a lot of stuff, and this is a big deal.
Monica Lewinsky.
Come
okay,
on,
let's
man.
read a couple
This
comments.
is a big deal. This is what's wrong with the world. Just saying.
Divide and conquer. Let's read a couple comments. Alani, by the way, says it's okay. They were all going overboard in the celebration. They are Spanish, Latin. She is too. Just saying. Let's go to Jose P. I'm not defending him, but he should know better than knowing how the world is nowadays. Look at Messi. He takes a picture. Okay, so let's look at both of these. Alani, yes, I see it the same way as you do. They were over celebrating and got lost in the madness. Okay.
Yeah,
now, at the same point in time, I must also go with Jose P because now I'm going to ask you a question as my wife and someone that there should be a huge trust element through. If you don't have trust, you have nothing. If someone lies to you, you have nothing. If I was in that situation, I would know that Carla is my soulmate. I would know that I would never do anything to jeopardize her trust. I would know this cold. And therefore, if there's ever a female in front of me, especially with tattoos and muscles that I love so much exposed, am I going to grab that and kiss that? Hell no, because I know I would hurt her, even if it was innocent. So I think there's a line of professionalism that you cannot cross. Would I have done that knowing that Carla is my everything? Would I have planted my lips on another woman? No. But is the culture in the U.S. the same as the culture that's in, say, Western Europe, in which you walk up, bonjour, how are you? Kiss, kiss, kiss every time. You can turn on the Godfather.
I mean, the European countries, they're so sexual. Sex for you guys is like nothing. You would display it. I mean, you go to Amsterdam, they have sex. I mean, prostitution is legal. Just like if you go into Sycamore, it's illegal. For you guys, sex is no big deal. Women walk around with their boobs hanging out on the beach. Guys wearing thongs. For you, that a kiss?
You think I could pull off a thong?
Yeah, but you think a kiss is that bad when you guys expose in Europe? I'm saying people in generalizing. You expose sex is nothing for you guys. You talk about it like nothing.
Like nothing.
I mean, and a kiss, and it wasn't even a kiss.
It was
just,
a
for the guy to resign, to give up his career for that is just ridiculous. Maybe a suspension or something to punish him. But a stupid like peck, get real.
Look, I haven't seen this name in a while, so I'm going to read the comment, even though I haven't even read it yet. Bonzadar, what's up, bro? From Serbia, good to hear from you, bro. I think it is odd, by the way, Bonzadar, that Djokovic and his quarter. We always talk about when the Serbians and the U.S. players all meet at a major, they always get rid of them early on. Did you know, and you may not have seen this, but did you know, I don't have to look, I saw it immediately. Did you know that Laszlo Djere, Momir Kekmanovic, and Novak Djokovic are in the same quarter? Did you know that?
But they're not facing each
Same
other.
quarter, but they will if one wins and the other one
They're
wins.
not even going to get to that. If you look at the draw, it's not even going to get
Yeah,
to that.
it's like, let's attrit the
But there were so many Americans facing each other. Did you notice that too?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, you can't say they picked on them because there were like
Well,
so many Americans. I'm like, what? Why would you put the Americans against each other?
You know, I'm always going to go
But what I'm saying to
I'm
you
always
is
going to go to the conspiracy theory
there
level.
is no conspiracy because this is the U.S. Open.
No.
So why would you put the Americans against the Americans?
I can tell you this. The American tennis dichotomy is that here we are at the U.S. Open, but American tennis is weak. Now, on the Serbian side, it's more like, hey, they're from the Eastern Bloc, especially given the Ukrainian Russia conflict. We're going to get the Serbians out of the way as well. So speaking of the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, and speaking of the desire for attention, and speaking of this Spanish football, I kissed you, you need to be fired or be given the electric chair or firing squad type thing, let's talk about Kostyuk for a moment. Okay, you know that Kostyuk is a Ukrainian player, and you know, I'm not picking on her, but we have heard more about Kostyuk in the past, say, year and a half than we ever have, even though she's been on tour a long time. She's not a rookie. She's been around the block. Kostyuk has been more in the news lately because of her jumping into the thick of propaganda and dissing the Ukrainian-Russian war, and not shaking hands with people and making a big royal stink on the court, right? So I get this notification. I think you have a picture. See if you do. Where Kostyuk is now the poster girl for Wilson, the company. And Wilson's never been kind of in the thick of it for tennis attire. Sure, they have it. You know, I got a pair of Wilson shorts on, believe it or not. But, you know, you don't see Rafael Nadal playing in a pair of Wilson shorts. Anyway, so Wilson puts her in this dress. Okay, you notice it's Ukrainian flag yellow. Okay, so Kostyuk now is the poster child, one of the poster childs for the U.S. Open. And why is this? Because she drew attention to herself by her being a bitch and not shaking hands with other people at the net because of what's going on in her country, Ukraine. Now, I'm not saying that it's a good thing or a bad thing that she's doing. I'm just saying this is tennis, and geopolitics should not be on the center court. But because she chose to do so, now she is on the center of the court. So I guess I'm getting at, she kind of sold herself out and made herself an asshole to so many people in the locker room, like the likes of Victoria Azarenka, that's from Belarus, that has zero to do, absolutely freaking zero to do with the war. Kostyuk, I think, believe it or not, lives in like Florida. Azarenka lives in like Monaco and is going through divorce proceedings with her son. So it's not like I'm picking on the conflict. I'm picking on the way or what someone did to draw that attention. Now let's look at the Spanish soccer player. I had my 14-year-old daughter, who we have raised objectively, Liliana, come and watch this clip. Watch this clip. And Liliana is a very conservative young lady. She's tough like her mother. She's disciplined. She wants to be military. She's a scholar. She's a great tennis. She is focused. Okay. I had her watch this clip over and over and over and over. And I said, Liliana, would you be offended? She was like, yeah, it's borderline. It's borderline. You know, it's borderline. Yes. But the point where she said she could see that it was an excitement. I'm so happy and just lost. It wasn't like he grabbed her ass and squeezed her boob and like lifted up and started, you know, twerking on her.
Right.
He just was like, literally, oh, I'm so happy, and kept celebrating. And then here,
I mean, there's some pro players that I won't mention out there that have slipped up a bit, and you know, you guys don't go overboard. I really think it was a mistake, yes, but I don't think that he meant it maliciously. I don't think that he was trying to make her feel.
It wasn't malicious. Yeah,
I think
it was
the
not
situation
malicious.
they were celebrating, whatever. I mean, you know, biggest thing for them. I think that we're going overboard. Like for me to see this in the news, let's talk about other stuff that's going on the world.
Yeah.
You know what? Instead of this, like this is the biggest thing. And I mean,
yeah. Now, Alani follows this up by saying she followed the Osaka method of getting rich, i.e. complain. Totally right, spot on. And Gene Swart, what's up, South Africa? Much love, bro. Hopefully you're doing well in school, college. Gene Swart says, remember when Kostyuk says she wanted the Russian players dead? Now, here in the United States, we turn on the news every night, and there's people being arrested, taken to jail for saying things like, I want to shoot this person, or I want to kick this person's butt, right? So they're arresting people off of things of what they type on social media, even though they might have had a beer or two and just were not being themselves, whatever. But we have people like Kostyuk saying she wants every Russian dead, and you know she's in there, she's the Wilson poster child. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Just saying.
Someone asked, how is this war still going on?
That's a good question. Well, who asked that?
Hitchhiker.
So Hitchhiker, that you know, again, I'm a total idiot. I'm just a human being and not a very smart person at all. But I think the conflict in Ukraine is more than now territory. I think it's like here you have the autocratic East, and here you have the global West. And whoever wins, if the East were to win, this is saying that, hey, your whole mindset of open borders and open immigration and all this stuff is good. But if they lose, then I think it's the autocracy aspect saying that, you know what, your way sucks. So I don't think this is any more a battle of territory anymore. I think it's now a battle of ideology, which makes this much more dangerous in a way, because a battle over ideology is a much bigger battle than over territory. You can concede territory, but if you concede ideology, now we have a revolution. And I think that's going to be a very long conflict until someone deals a decisive blow to the other. And that's it. You know, warfare is one of those things, but this is an ideology war at this point. Not anymore about I want the resources of grain fields in the Donetsk or Luhansk more than I want a port to the Black Sea for the Russian Federation. It's more than that. Now it's ideological. It's basically a world war already. You have, say, Iran and North Korea and China, and you know they have this axis, and then the Allies, you have the West. So either side at this point it's existential. It's an existential threat for both. Whoever wins this will end up controlling the world order, and I think that's where it's become. Okay, much more than just territory at this point. Ideology, isms, which are all bullshit, and that's what makes tennis beautiful. When we walk on the tennis court, we're one. We're one language. We're one people. We play the same game. We bleed the same. We talk the same. We act the same. And that's what makes tennis very interesting. And the problem is when people like Kostyuk infiltrate the game with "I want you dead" and blah 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 blah. Then it just makes us think of it. Now, mind you, the Russian side has an equal credible argument in this conflict. After World War II, there were certain ramifications after the collapse of the Soviet Union that, hey, NATO can't come here. We're going to agree to that. They can't come here. But then all of a sudden they come there. You know, there's a lot of deceit going on there and a lot of lies that have been broken. Yes, lies have been lost, but nonetheless, it is still something over thousands of years that have cost many more than the 500,000 lives lost now, millions of lives in the past. Fair enough? Okay, enough of that.
So my question was back to them. I said, had she gone up to the president and celebrated and gave him a kiss, do you think we would all be reacting that way?
Yes. No.
we
Yes.
wouldn't
No.
Has she done the same? Oh my God. Nah, bet you no. Everybody be like, oh, ha, ha, ha. Everybody be like, ha, ha, ha.
Okay.
Oh, that's so funny.
Okay. This is
how cute.
This is a good way to put it.
How cute.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm a woman saying that. How cute.
Comment of the day. Comment of the day right there. So let's think about that. So Carla seems to make an example of. Now I'm a very confident guy, and she's a very confident lady. Wouldn't worry about anything. But I know that Carla has always had like a crush on Gerard Butler or Viggo. What's his name? Viggo Mortensen. Let's say Viggo Mortensen and Carla meet at a tennis tournament. Carla's playing and she wins it, and he's in his cheering section, you know, and I'm in the cheer. We're all excited for her, and he runs. We go straight John Paul, and that's it. Man, I would feel so nice for her.
Stop it.
Do you think I'd want to go kill him? What I'm saying is, it was totally friendly. It wasn't. She wasn't manipulated. But I really do feel that what you said, she's probably a switch hitter, and that crossed.
She is a switch hitter.
That crossed the boundary of what is copacetic for her.
Yeah.
And then maybe
that's the problem.
And it probably
that's the problem. You just nailed it. That's the problem. That's the main problem.
Surely it made her girlfriend mad.
That's the problem right there.
Just saying.
But some of them are saying that the president was not for the women's soccer, so this is payback. This is perfect. Oh yes.
So eye for an eye.
Perfect. Let's go for him. Let's lynch his ass.
So we're going eye for an eye.
Let's lynch his ass, because you know women when they're mad, watch out.
So is
women when they're mad, be careful.
Is that the answer? Eye for an eye? Is that where we are in terms of punishment? Eye for an eye. So
yeah.
You know, if I'm a drunk driver, which I hate to think about these traumatic things, but if I'm a drunk driver and I make a mistake and I hurt somebody, you know, God knows I'm gonna go to hell and deal with this for the rest of my life. Does that mean that I need to put a drunk driver in another car and have him run me over in front of the public square? I don't think it's really good karma. I don't think that's a good positive thing. I think that shit happens. Kids have leukemia. Crazy stuff happened. My sister died of breast cancer. Does that mean that every doctor I want to go, you know, do something harmful to because they didn't cure my sister? I mean, I think the eye for an eye thing is it's not so good. That's just me though. Let's not get into that. Anyway, next topic. Okay, by the way, I wanted to give a shout out real quick to a very long time friend of ours, and also someone that was very much around this channel since the freaking very beginning, and it's right at 49 minutes. Rajesh Kumar. Rajesh Kumar is a friend of ours, and he works for the corporate Academy Sports Store. I think he's their chief programmer, software engineer, marketing. Anyway, but Rajesh Kumar is from India, and he's a wonderful gentleman. And about 6 years ago, when we started the show, Carl and I were playing a tennis match, and I happened to jump up into the air and land incorrectly. And
5 years ago.
5 years ago,
Because the show had been on for a year already.
and I ruptured my patellar tendon. And for those of you who think this is like the ACL or just some knee injury, it's where the top part of your leg above the patella, the kneecap, and below becomes disconnected. It's one of the largest tendons in your body. The largest is the quad tendon. The second largest is this one. Third biggest, the Achilles. Completely ruptured, separated. Went 8-9 months without even being able to walk or bend it. Long story short is there was a point in time during that injury where being an active tennis coach, and you can't coach, you don't make a living, where I had to have multiple MRIs on my knee. And Rajesh really stepped in.
He says the J is not silent, but I thought
Is Rajesh out there?
I thought we've talked to him many times, and he said Rajesh himself.
Is he there?
No.
Anyway, but Rajesh, much love unending, and as well a lot of you that have been here since day one. But Rajesh kind of jumped in to our lives out of nowhere, perfect stranger, and really helped us weather that storm. And last night, Carla and I were like, wait a minute, we're going to have actually a Sunday off, and we're going to be able to do a show. And no sooner than we were talking about that, I mentioned, I wonder how Rajesh is doing. And at that same second, I got a text message from Rajesh. Hey, what's up? Anyway, much love, bro. Hopefully all is well.
Sub-Zero.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, Carla for multiple years it says that when it comes to Novak Djokovic playing the U.S. Open, it's a coin toss. It's not something he does well with. And we always talk about why, right? We're like, why, right? And Carla goes on and on and on and on. We're like, no, man, shut up. And then ultimately Carla ends up being right. But today we were reading an article in the USA Today. And the article was about why Novak Djokovic, in the opinion of the author, struggles at the U.S. Open. Now, Djokovic has a big-time winning record. All of the majors, the French Open, he's 3-4. So he has like 10-0 at the Australian, something like 6-2 at or 7-2 at Wimbledon, whatever. 3-4 at the French, but at the U.S. he's like 3-6. So there was an article we read today, and you don't have to pull it out again. I know you have it, but this author was talking about, in his opinion, why he suffers at the U.S. Open. The first reason that I shot out before we read the article was like the way that the Western media propaganda machine treats him.
Yeah, I've always said that from the beginning. I feel like New York is the toughest crowd on him. He has a hard time ignoring them, whereas he ignores the other ones. But I feel like they're ruthless in New York. They just are.
Yeah, and Nemanja out there, what's up? Good to hear from you. Says that Novak likes to play in Australia because there's a big Serbian community there. Now, mind you, there's a big Serbian community here as well. I mean, we're in Alabama, and we're a Serbian community. Matter of fact, the last tournament that we put our kids in, not the last one, that one before. Lily didn't play that one, but we were in Daphne, and the tennis pro there is Serbian.
Yeah, I think he hit with Novak. He was a hit.
Yeah, and so the pro there, and I'm so sorry for getting his name. The final.
David. I'll find out. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Anyway, but yeah, so Djokovic was playing Alcaraz there, and he was walking the chick on matches. Pankovic, yeah, and I'm walking back and forth to watch the 3 kids of mine that I have playing and a couple students. We're crossing paths. How's Djokovic doing? So it's not that you don't have individual fans. It's the media doesn't let it get too far out. Again, we have to look at the things that happened during COVID. We have to look at, he bucked the system and this and that. Now, oddly enough, what's kind of, I guess, ironic is during those years, you got to get vaccinated or you can't come in. And now it's like, man, I wish I wouldn't have got vaccinated because now there's ties to a lot of cancers and now some immune system issues that have occurred because I had this thing in the first place. Anyway, not going there. I'm too dumb to know that. But Novak Djokovic has struggled at the U.S. Open, according to this author, because of the way the Western media has treated him and the fans, but more so as the grinding length of the ATP Tour, the WTA Tour throughout the year, the long, arduous season, and then all of a sudden, here you are at the very end of that, 3 out of 5 sets, against young players, whereas you're middle latter 30s. So it's a matter of the attrition of Djokovic versus everyone else as he has aged, right? So Carla has always said the same thing. So my question to you is, Carla, based upon the almost 4-hour match you watched between Alcaraz and Djokovic at Cincinnati, let's imagine this match now, even later in the year, after even more miles on his shoe. Let's imagine this same match happens and we're deep in the 5th set at the U.S. Open. Where are you going if it's Alcaraz, Djokovic, 5th set? The 5th set is about to begin at the U.S. Open. Winner take all, 5th set. Where are you going with that if that happens this year?
I think I'll give it to the young guy.
I still won't. I can't.
I don't think that I told that to Justin Bentley. I said the same thing to him. I said I feel like that day if they would have played 3 out of 5, that Djokovic would have been in trouble.
I don't know.
I honestly don't think Alcaraz will win the US Open again. It is one of the hardest tournaments to repeat. Let's look at all our US
Didn't
Open.
Federer do it 4 times?
After
Didn't
Federer
Federer win 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yes, he did. He dominated. But go back and start looking at all the champions. We haven't had a repeat champion in a long time. It's been a long time.
Okay, how about this?
It has. So I don't think, and that's why I'm not picking Alcaraz because I don't think he'll repeat. I think it's been tough for the men, especially the women. We've just had a coin toss, but there hasn't been. When was the last? When's the last guy that dominated? Last time somebody won the US Open back was Federer.
Who said that? Who said Federer? Who said Federer back to back?
Look how long ago that was.
But who said that?
Gene.
Okay, so Gene Swart. Okay, Gene Swart.
Long time.
Gene Swart, you know the drill. I was just going to say before you answered that, I was just going to say I will send a couple of sets of Y-Tech rings once Igor gets them to me. I'll send them to you, 2 sets for the first person who can name the last ATP player, man, that went back to back. Just for shits and giggles, can you throw out the last woman to do so? Anyway, so
Novak's draw is a lot better. Way better.
Yes.
Way better. They felt bad for him.
So, Gene, I'll send you a couple sets of strings or the same dollar amount in cash, and we have your PayPal or Cash App, I think. Tell your mom hello, by the way. But yes. In 2007 and 2008, I hate to beat a dead horse, but I was there both years. It's been a
long. Even the women, look at that. It's been a long time. It seems like the U.S. Open is. I've always said it. Go back to my videos. I feel like the underdog has a great chance. People are tired. The New York crowd wants an underdog to win. I feel like, I would love to pick a new champion, but I don't think Alcaraz is going to win it. I think now Djokovic has a chance just because Alcaraz won it last year. I think he could win it this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, if
he hasn't won it in a little while, so I think now it will happen.
Yeah, if the whole topic
it'll happen now.
Yeah, if the whole topic is the difficulty of repeating.
No, Alcaraz will not win it.
He's just not going to win it.
Alcaraz will not win it. And now it's Novak's chance because it's been years since he's won it. So, yeah.
Okay, interesting topic. And I'm still on the first page. But this topic is one that I really look forward to. So here we go on this one. We don't have to spend a while on it. But I think it's a very important, a poignant topic. Okay, we are now covering the U.S. Open for the 6th time doing the show. Carl and you and I have been watching along with our moms and dads for since we were little tiny kids. So it's our 40th plus U.S. Open. Mm-hmm. But Carla, you and I have been teaching tennis for 20 plus years. Me, you 13 and counting, but we both played for the same amount of time, very young. Your father taught you. Your father has been involved in the coaching and playing for many decades. My father, at 85 years old, was born into it. His father played, right? If you add all that together, you get a couple hundred years of passionate tennis experience. And when I don't mean your dad was just a recreational player, or you have a brother that's a monster that wins every tournament we throw, with whoever doubles partner that's lucky enough to get him as an opponent, right?
Yeah.
Every time your brother plays in a doubles tournament at our club, whoever is lucky enough to say, okay, I get to play with him, he wins everyone.
Very true.
Right? It's not like whoever. Anyway, your brother is the force that wins tournaments in doubles. That's how good he is.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Everybody that has had him, they won.
Everybody's that play with your brother has
It's-
won,
yeah.
regardless of who it is. That's
Regardless
how
who it is.
good
That's
he is.
factual.
And he's a one-handed backhand player.
That's why they text me and they get him.
Hey, can I play with your brother? They win. That type of thing.
That's why this time my brother asked me in December.
I'm gonna bring my own
I
opponent.
told him you don't have to play the tournament.
Yeah, you don't have to play.
Let them figure it
Let
out.
them figure it out.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah, your brother is used to win.
Yeah, I'm like, you are gonna chill out with us. You're gonna enjoy family time.
Yeah.
We're not gonna do a tournament while you're
Yeah,
here.
he's got 4 first-place trophies in a row, and
Yeah.
doesn't really put too much effort into it. Okay,
So-
anyway.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so if you add all that up, there's a couple hundred years of tennis experience, and I didn't even put in your brother. With that said, what is the current state of American tennis, regardless of level per se, but especially though the junior aspect
I think it's
rolling
getting
into
better.
the college ranks?
Justin, I think it's getting better.
Explain.
I actually see a lot of promising. I think it's changing a little bit. I think it's getting a little bit better. I think they're starting to get a little bit hungrier. I
Yes.
think the drought has been very long, and I see a lot of American females and male players starting to play better.
Yes, I do feel like, especially in this area,
I
that
feel like they're picking up their game.
picking it up.
Yeah.
In this area, there's a lot of reliance on saying, "Hey, just smash your forehand, just hit the
Hit that
ball.
inside out."
You got 3 shots to kill the ball." And I think after enough years of listening to that, parents, I think after they watch their kids not have great results, whether they're 13 and they're hitting the ball really hard, and they get to 18 and you got a 13-year-old beating you. I think parents are beginning to warm up to that in this area, that, hey, tennis is an overall package and not just crunching a forehand all the time. What happens if you can't hit that forehand? What happens if someone takes that forehand away from you? What happens if someone drop shots you? Can you still crank on that forehand? I think they're starting to warm up to that. And with that said, I think in this area, we're starting to see the desire to have more variety to their game. I see now the current generation is more privy to using the slice and the dropper and to mixing up the pace and look at short angles and to use the drop shot lob to attack the player at the net, to draw them in and to attack, these type things. Whereas, it seems like, 5 or 6 years ago, most new players that have played that come to us and, hey, we just want to finally get to the next level, where you start seeing the desire to have an overall game and not just to run around the forehand and blast it the whole time. How many times have we heard, you have to hit the ball really hard in 3 shots? And then if you don't, you give them the 4th ball hit and they just miss. And then the 14-year-old whoops up on the 18-year-old that's played for, umpteen years because they never learned variety, right? Anyway, I really feel like the level is picking up.
I feel the level is picking up.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not saying we're gonna have a Grand Slam champion. Well, maybe Coco Gauff can get her shit together. She has now, as we know, she has
1 win against Fiance.
No, she changed her coach. She has
Brad Gilbert.
Brad Gilbert, and I feel like Brad Gilbert is, to me, there's something that he does to tennis players with their mind. He wasn't a great player, but I think he has a way of talking to them to make them believe in themselves.
He's a good Brad Gilbert.
I feel like he did Agassi really good.
Yeah.
He did Roddick really good, obviously, and I feel like, well, he's starting to do Coco Gauff really good.
Yeah.
It's not like he needed to show her how to hit a forehand, a backhand, a volley. I feel she just needs that inspiration, that belief in herself.
A positive energy creator. Do you think when players such as Nole or Federer or Nadal or any of these players, any of the players in the top couple hundred, do you think any of them really need someone to show them how to hit a forehand, or anyone to be able to tell them, hey, when you warm up and are just hitting, find their weakness and exploit it? At this level, they're watching film. They're studying their opponents. They know their opponents. They've played them 20 times.
Let's make a bet.
What's up, Michael Walker?
I bet you $100 Carlos Alcaraz does not win the U.S. Open.
Hey, what about Michael Walker saying Venus Williams to win the U.S. Open?
You want to make that bet?
What's up, Mike Walker?
Michael
Love you,
Walker,
man.
do you want to make that bet with me?
Go, Mike Walker.
Let me know.
Much love, bro. Mike Walker's the only brother out there that will put up with me dealing with bets all year. I will take that Venus Williams bet, though, bro. And I know you're just playing, because otherwise, okay.
No, I'm not even taking the Venus. I'm taking the bet on Carlos Alcaraz if he wants to. $100.
Mike Walker makes these majors the most fun for me because I know he's one that's going to put his money where his mouth is. And he pays, too, vice versa.
Again, you can't fix a full Western grip. You can't. There has to be belief. We've seen all players win with full Western grips.
What's the problem?
I mean, you've seen Sergey Bruguera win French Open with the worst full Western grip. He won a Grand Slam won it.
What's the problem with the full Western grip,
It's
Carla?
the contact point.
Contact
And not only that, your arm is too tight. Your arm is too tight. I have the same grip. Your arm is too
Okay.
tight.
So for those of you that don't understand, so this is the tennis racket, right? I'm going to shake hands with the racket. This is a continental grip or a neutral grip. Semi-Western on the forehand side is where I rotate it this way. So it's like I'm picking it up off the ground, semi-Western. Full Western is where I come all the way up underneath. My daughter Lily plays this way. Carla plays this way. If we're not careful, Justin, our youngest son, is starting to migrate over here. So as you come around with the hand underneath, the elbow doesn't get.
I always thought he had that grip anyway.
The elbow doesn't become fully extended, so we hit it in here tight. Now, when we play the game, we want to ascertain kinetic energy. We want to ascertain racket movement and not a lot of hand or arm movement. So the full Western, as we bring the racket around to create that whip, we're jammed in tight here. Okay. Semi-Western, naturally, we're a little bit more out here so we can reach and save a footstep or two, right? So the problem is with the semi-Western is that we're crammed in here when we hit the ball, and creating space is an important thing.
I think you can create it. I mean, it can be done. You don't have to hit it the way most people hit it.
Yeah.
You shorten up your swing. That's if you shorten up your swing, then it doesn't look that way. You've done videos of me.
Yeah.
Do you guys see it that way? You won't see it that way. It's because I'm shortening it up and I'm here in front. So I'm making sure that I'm turning my racket at impact. It's flat and then it's coming around. You can change that. I don't know why the players don't change that. They can, even pros. You can change that. It doesn't have to be down.
Yeah, and the most important thing if you're playing semi-Western, A, out of two things, A and B. A is to create space here. So if you're gripping the racket tight, if you're clenching your fist, it's hard to be loose and free. You want to be able to kind of crack that whip if you're playing, or any shot, but especially full Western, so you can get that arm loosely out there. If your hand is tight, then your elbow is restricted. You're not free and flowing. But if you look at the inside out forehand, for example, today we were watching a video of Patrick Moratzoglu, and he was teaching, and he was giving the advantages, or the pros rather, P-R-O-S, pros, the pros of hitting an inside out forehand the majority of the time. And Patrick Moratzoglu was indicating that as you come around the backhand, if you have time to do it, that is, if you come around the backhand, as you're coming around, if you're loose, you're building that whip, you're building energy. Whereas if you hit the backhand, you're kind of just rotating this way and just using.
I think that Djokovic would have to disagree with him, though.
Now let's look at what Patrick Moratzoglu was talking about, vision.
Yeah, I get what he's saying.
If I'm a right-handed player, okay, I'm right-handed. So if I have a ball coming cross court to my backhand, and I am able to come around it, my right eye is dominant. My right eye is dominant. Like if I'm serving, you bounce the ball, toss it up, and I want a clean look at it with my right eye. But if I'm coming around my backhand, whereas if I hit the backhand, my dominant eye is kind of facing this way and I'm looking out of my peripheral, right? Mm-hmm. But if I come around it, now my right eye has a complete view of the court. So I'm able to see the ball better because it's on my dominant eye side. And I'm able to look at the deviation of angles between the single sideline and the single sideline on both sides of the court. So I'm able to really kind of come around with it. Now, a vintage coach would say, well, hey, on the backhand side, yes, your vision might be slightly impaired, but your hitting shoulder is in front. So on the backhand side, I'm able to lean in and use the body. Whereas on the forehand side, I really have to have my feet going so I can transfer weight from back foot to front foot. But my vision is more clear. So it's a gamble. Now, the problem with always running around the backhand, hitting the inside out, is what happens when you play a player that's really good at hitting short angles or with pace off the court to the ad side if I'm a right-hand player. Alcaraz, for example. If I'm playing Alcaraz, 80% of the time, I can't run around that damn thing because he's hitting rifles.
One thing that Alcaraz did good that I noticed that Nadal does as well is, if you notice, he was hitting that really high topspin shot that sometimes didn't allow Novak to hit through the court.
To step into it, yeah.
You notice that his shot would bounce really up high, and it was tough for Novak to hit his normal shots.
Yep.
I noticed that. I said, wow, that's a very good strategy because Novak likes those balls that kind of come flat at him. He can dictate more, but because the balls kept slowing, it would slow. slow, and boom, then it would jump up. Very good.
Yeah, Novak's ground strokes and contact point are always very compact. He's able to go from here, keep the racket in front, and go. It's here, and it's not some big, huge loop with the likes of, say, Tiafoe. Say, Tiafoe is like, and then
much.
boom.
That's what I'm saying. He has a full Western grip. I'm shocked. I'm not the best tennis player in the world, but I'm shocked that if I have his grip, why hasn't he figured that out too?
Yeah, the thing with Tiafoe.
Why haven't they shortened up his stroke? He doesn't need to do all of that. He doesn't need to. That's just too much. He doesn't need
Tiafoe, Djokovic.
I don't get
Much
that.
more
But he
compact.
can do it. A full Western grip can do it too. I don't get it.
All right, let's read Nemanja's topic in all caps. Let's read this one. Nemanja, what's up? Yes, he hit a lot of heavy spins to Novak's backhand, so he needed to produce pace in his shots. Hitting hard to Novak doesn't work. Yes, he's a great counterpuncher.
Yeah, you don't want to hit hard to Novak. I felt
Don't
like
hit
that
hard
top
to him,
spin was
yes.
really good.
Give him
really
jump. Give him jump. The ability for Novak to use pace and his compact returns, compact shots is a disaster for anyone that's playing him. This is why after a nearly 4-hour epic match, this is why Novak held the edge over Alcaraz at the Cincinnati final. Now, I must mention the humility and beautifulness of Djokovic's post-match speech after the Cincinnati final. Now, a lot of you, the match ends, you just turn it off, you're not interested, whatever. The best thing about a match, in my opinion, is after match point, right as it finishes, the handshake at the net and the post-match interviews for both the first and second players. The second place going to be a sore loser. Is second place going to throw their Wilson Ultra into the woods 100 miles away? Or are they going to shake hands and give each other respect because they were the best of, in this sense, at a major, the best of 128 people being the top two? Pretty damn good, okay? Anyway, Djokovic said at the end of this match to Alcaraz and looked him in the eye and said, man, do you ever give up? You never give up. Oh, my gosh, right? You never stop. And he doesn't. The problem, I feel, though, the negative of never giving up, you never stop. What's one of Alcaraz's issues right now? He cramps a lot. He gets hurt. He's very young. He's been out a couple of times for injury and has had to bail out of, what was it, Wimbledon?
No, he played.
Yeah. Was it Wimbledon? He had to.
Well, you know what he needs to do? He has to ask Novak because Novak was the same.
Now, Novak has gone vegan, by the way.
Novak has done the same thing. Don't you remember Novak had never finished matches in the beginning of his career? He had a hard time keeping up with, he should ask Novak, what's your secret, bro?
Well, why don't we ask the likes of Nemanja, or why don't we ask Romani, or why don't we ask Mike Walker? Why don't we ask some of these people that are so much brighter than we are and ask them, do you think that his diet, being vegan, or skipping vaccines, or skipping putting poisons into his body, do you think this has helped?
I think probably maybe the way he exercises, maybe. Not so much that maybe what he's explained why he doesn't put certain foods in his body. They're harder to digest. He feels a lot better in the morning. We know he meditates. We know he does a lot of Pilates, stuff like that, that helps him stretch out his body. We know he's flexible. He's probably big into the yoga. I mean, I'm sure that helps. Jumping and it's very tough on the knees. Doing, rigorous lift weighting can be tough on the body.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. Nemanja, I also, that's why I say I think Novak has a hard time with the heat. So I feel like had they gone 3 out of 5, maybe Carlos could have taken that match.
And we can't forget about this category called experience. Alcaraz is a beast, but the problem is he's young and he's already experiencing injuries. He's already getting cramping. There's only so much things that pickle juice and magical potion bottles can do. And a lot of the time when Djokovic is playing and he's early on slunched over, a lot of that is theater to get in the head of your opponent. You know who else used to do this a lot? Gal Monfils. Now, we were watching not terribly long ago a match between Gal Monfils and Novak Djokovic for like the 27th millionth time. And correct me if I'm wrong, has Gal Monfils ever beaten Novak? I think he's like 20 million and 0. It's like 20 and 0. Like he played 20 times and beat him every time. Mm-hmm. But Djokovic has been doing this for now nearly 2 decades. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? Mm-hmm. It's uncanny. And you have to start looking at things outside of what he does on the court. Diet, fitness, mental energy, positive energy, the team in of itself. I do always wonder about Vajda. I wonder how Vajda's doing. For Djokovic's entire career, a lot of times I would watch the match not just to watch Djokovic, but to watch the intensity of Vajda in the box. That's someone that I miss. I hope Vajda is still very much involved in the game. I do know that there's a U.S. player that qualified for this tournament or is in the draw with the last name Vajda. I don't know if it's any correlation, but if there was a coach, there's only a couple coaches in this world that I would have my kids coach, but you and I. One is Brooks Green, who teaches here in Mobile. Fine gentleman. His sons, Brooks and Hallett, are amazing. And you can tell a lot about a coach and how passionate they are by looking at their children. If their children are D1 players as Brooks and Hallett, then man, you can teach my kids anytime. But a lot of coaches, they just talk to talk and put a bunch of hairspray in their hair, wear these tight clothes, and are like, yeah, I got all this passion, but their kids suck. I don't want anything to do with that coach because they're not passionate if their own children suck. Anyway, but Vajda is one of those people that I would love to have to teach my own children. I would pick Vajda over the likes of Patrick Mouratoglou, even though I like Mouratoglou's metaphors a lot. He's able to explain things clearly.
Yeah, like for little guy, we have to find a good coach.
Yeah, it's like we talk about serves with some people, right? And then if someone actually sits there, like this young lady Aubrey the other day, and Sophie, who listens so intently, we talk about developing the serve. A lot of people that we meet have been taking for years, and they still have a pitter-pat lollipop serve. The ones that we started from ball one that have started throwing the football and creating pronation, loose kinetic energy. You notice within 6 months to a year, they're already out serving the player whose serve was neglected for years and beating them already. So it's really important to have a good coach to create looseness and positive energy and fluidity and sportsmanship and humility, because without that, everything else you learn is hearsay. It just doesn't come together in one package. Okay? All right. Real quickly, I'm just going to say 2 words, and I want you to tell us whether it's worth your time or not. Emma Raducanu, who? Birds chirping. Leylah Fernandez.
At least she's keeping steady.
Not long ago, these two met each other in the U.S. Open final. Not too long ago, the winner of that final, Raducanu, ended up with like $20 million a year in sponsorship from the likes of Rolex, Ferrari, Lambo, and everything else. I don't know. I might exaggerate that, but she's definitely worth tens of millions. And after that, Carl and I went on a rampage saying I did, yeah. I went on the rampage. I went on a rampage, and we lost like 200 subscribers because I knocked on Raducanu so bad and said, I went off. I think I went
Michael
off.
Walker, you still on that bandwagon?
I still love you, though, no matter what the bandwagon.
You still think your girl can do something big?
All right. Coach's question. Coach's question, doesn't matter if you're a coach or not. Anyone in that chat right there is a credible source. Coach's question. I'm going to hit Carla with it. Here we go. Here's the question. Running around your backhand and hitting the inside out forehand. In other words, whenever we have a chance, running around the backhand, hitting the inside out forehand is more advantageous than staying set, saving a few steps, and hitting the backhand. Carla, go.
I'd rather hit a backhand.
Explain.
Why have to run so much more? What about if you hit the inside out forehand the wrong spot and that player meets the ball and now you're having to run all the way across to hit another forehand?
Then you're out of position.
What about they hit behind you? If they watch your feet?
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it's just dumb. Even if you have a put away shot, hit your backhand, master your backhand. You should be complete on both sides.
Ask Djokovic.
Yeah, why? That takes a lot of energy to hit your forehand inside out. Moving your feet maybe 4, 5, 6 extra steps than you would have taken to hit a backhand.
All right, let's look at the pros and cons of a couple, and let's look at them by the facts. Okay, if you run around the backhand while you're doing so, you're creating kinetic energy. You're creating windup. If you watch, say, quarterbacks in American football, or if you watch baseball players that pitch, they don't just stand on the mound and throw the ball with their arm. They wind up and go. They create this wind up. Okay, so if you run around the backhand, as you're coming around, your body is turning, you're moving this way, and you come around, it's like a ballerina on stage, right? If you hit the backhand, oh, and by the way, when you're doing so, running around it, your right eye, your dominant eye if you're right-handed, and the other hand, the other way, your left eye if you're left-handed, your dominant eye has a clear look at all the angles on the court. So if I'm coming around, I can see down the line, I can see cross court, I can see the doubles alley from it, whatever. Okay. Now, if I just turn to hit the backhand, my dominant eye now, I'm right-handed, my right eye is now kind of stretching to see down across court over there. And I can see kind of down the line pretty good. And I really can't see if I'm playing doubles, the person at the net over there. The person at the net, I can't even see. And the person at the net over there also has a forehand poach, right? So I can't see very well and I have to hit. So the pros are I can come around it and create more racket movement and more width action. But at the same time, if I hit the backhand, then I can't see very clearly. So what to do? And that's the debate. So it doesn't matter where you go in the world and whether you're a modern coach or a more conservative coach. The fact of the matter is there's pros and cons for everything, like boxing, reach, stamina, height, weight, strengths, weaknesses. Tennis is a boxing match. You got pros and cons. You have to weigh them out.
I mean, I'm not saying you're going to hit a winner with the backhand, but at least you'll save some
footsteps.
Yeah,
so the benefit of not running around the backhand is footsteps. Also, what's another benefit of not running around that backhand? The psychology of it. If an opponent sees you always running around,
they're going to keep doing it.
They're going to keep doing it. And then they're going to start drop shotting you if you're right-handed to the ad side, and you're not going to be able to get up to the net and come around and go because you won't get there, or if you do, you'll hit it right to the net.
Daryl Cole says, see where Sock is with his inside out playing pickleball.
That's a good statement. Who said that?
Daryl
Caldwell. Oh, is that?
No, I don't think that's. We missed that shout out, by the way. You never even mentioned it.
Daryl Caldwell. Great freaking comment. Yes. That's the freaking comment of the day. Jack Sock, exactly. And that's kind of in a nutshell the whole problem with American tennis. You come around American tennis, the lazy coaches are self-absorbed. They don't want to freaking risk dead time and parents watching them and not having at least hitting a forehand. So they alleviate the net game. They alleviate the tactics. They alleviate the serve. They just teach them hit the forehand. Forehand, easiest shot in the game. Hey, my kid can hit forehand. And my kid can win every match hitting that forehand against 50% of the players. But when they meet a player that can hit a backhand, have some tactical training, they lose 0-0. That's the problem. Jack Sock, according to Daryl Caldwell, who hit it right on the freaking nose. Let's go. That is the absolute frustration that Carla and I have when we meet students that have played for years.
They can hit her back.
How long you play? How long you been playing? I've been taking lessons for 5 years over here, you know? And then you feed them, okay, we always say, Carla, when we meet a new student, okay, this lesson number 1, the first 20 minutes, don't even take it off the time. We just want to get to know you. We feed them a handful of forehands, handful of backhands, handful of half volleys, handful of half volleys on this side, handful of volleys both sides, overhead, go back to the serve, go back and serve a few balls. I can't tell you if I had $1 for every time we've had someone that comes out and says, I've been playing for years and I feel like I'm great. And the only thing they can do is see me hit a forehand. They have no serve, nothing else. We're like, oh my gosh, I feel so sorry for the parent that's wasted thousands of dollars at this point, right? I always like to look at a young man that we've had the blessing of being involved with, Miller Crane. Okay, Miller Crane is an 8-year-old young man, and he's I would like to say, if we're lucky enough, that he's one of our son's good friends, right? If there's ever a time where Miller Crane can hang out with our son, I'll go pick him up and drop him off to make sure it happens. Why? Because he's good people, he's well raised, and he has loose energy, right? He's loose in his feet. Anyway, I say this because he's 8 years old, and our son is 7, but they don't have any bad habits. They've never pitter-patted the serve. They've never that pitter-pat. They just learned from ball one, and they fed off each other. And the thing is these 7 and 8-year-olds are beating 3-5 men, my age or older, right? Beating them, singles and doubles. And these kids have trained, I guess, seriously for like a year and a half. Now, Justin was born on the court, but you get what I'm saying. Anyway, there's so much more to the game than just waxing the forehand. And any coach that just says hit the ball hard within 3 shots or else, and that's all you need to do is hit your forehand, is an idiot and should not be running your tennis program. Okay, next topic. Naomi Osaka and Caroline Wozniacki. Why do I put these two in a group together? Naomi Osaka hasn't played in a while, right? Okay, she keeps coming out with awesome shoes, by the way. The new Osaka Nikes that just came out, there's still a few pairs left, I think, on Nike.com. If you search tennis, really nasty shoes, gnarly in a good way. And Caroline Wozniacki, who's been away from the game, that's been commentating with ESPN and as well the Tennis Channel. Poll question. Okay, you don't have to type it if you want, or you can to make it fun. Poll question. Who does better at this U.S. Open in this context? Naomi Osaka comes back and eventually plays another U.S. Open, or Wozniacki, who is playing this U.S. Open, by the way, right? Isn't Wozniacki a wild card?
She'll win her first round after that.
So what's a better chance? Osaka ever playing another U.S. Open match, or Wozniacki doing semi-well at this U.S. Open? And what defines semi-well for Wozniacki at the U.S. Open here? Making her first round match close? Winning her first round? Is it just making it close successful for her? Because ultimately, it's just, her playing is just brownie points for ticket sales and as well whichever network she is commentating for. What better than to have a billion-dollar network that serves false propaganda up than having the commentator playing in that tournament? Just saying.
Yeah, I think Wozniacki will win one round and that's it. I think Osaka will come back and I think she'll have a good chance actually.
I agree, Michael Walker. Osaka is much better.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different level. Sasha, a.k.a. Alexander Zverev. Let's talk about him. Uno momento, por favor. We've talked about Zverev being a wife beater. We've talked about Zverev being a little baby sissy boy, like Sissipas, or maybe they both should have a room together. We've talked about ad nauseum Zverev needing to grow up and become a man because anyone that hits a girl, or at least is insinuated that they did, is a piece of garbage. However, leave that aside for a moment. Hard to do so. And let's rewind to this past tournament with Cincinnati, where we were watching Zverev play.
I thought he played pretty good.
Zverev played pretty darn well.
Mm-hmm.
And if you looked at him close up, his neck, he had a Mike Tyson neck. He's like he's been in the gym.
I was like, wow.
Okay. Zverev looked like he bulked up a little bit in the quads. He didn't look like popsicle sticks like my legs. They call me the chicken, hump before a chicken.
I would like to see him win a slam. He's gonna have to go through Novak. Is Novak he's gonna go through, right? No. Who does he have to go through?
Can Zverev bring the loot? Give me the loot. Can Zverev be a bad man against Alcaraz? Because they're in the same half of the draw.
No, he's got to go through Murray, then Sinner, then Alcaraz.
Yeah, young Jeezy.
I think she should be able to, with all that money that she has, Ellie, I mean, she should be able to drop the weight. First baby, you should be able to drop the weight. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She still got 4 majors, though.
Wozniacki saw the week tour and decided to return. Exactly. And why would Osaka have a chance? She has just as well of a chance. Barty, too.
Eleanor, what's up? Mm-hmm. Eleanor says, Carlo, will Osaka be able to drop the baby weight and get back in shape?
Yeah, we saw Serena had her second girl.
Okay, the proof is in the pudding. That's a good question. We have 5 children. I think that the first 4 you've been able to shake the weight off easily, and Justin is 7'8", so that means your 5th one you were 38. So, and how old's Wozniacki now?
No, Wozniacki's skinny.
But what I'm saying, how old was? No, Osaka. Osaka. How old is Osaka now?
Isn't she still in her 20s?
She's in her 20s. So what I'm saying, you became a brick house after having 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
Yeah.
You have no excuse.
There's no excuse there.
No.
Okay. Just don't flip us another middle finger with your boyfriend on Ash Stadium after you went U.S. Open.
Just Clijsters. That's it, right? Just Clijsters. I think that's the only person that's won a Grand Slam after having a baby. Clijsters. All right, guys, stop walking around.
Okay. Anyway, getting to the end, off-topic question. We won't spend a lot of time here. Does anybody watch NFL, National Football League football, or NCAA college football? If so, I'd love to read in comments your teams and why. And with that said, Aaron Rodgers, one of her favorite NFL players, is now a New York Jet, where she is from. Does anyone think that Aaron Rodgers will deliver a playoff appearance for the New York Jets where they haven't done so in like a decade or more? I think so. I think they'll be all right. But what happens when we try to play with the young men when we're 40? We get hurt. Aaron Rodgers, be careful because you are now a target. The only thing that's keeping the Jets from getting or not getting to the playoffs is you getting hurt. And I can guarantee you there's a bounty gate, a spy gate on every defensive tackle, every linebacker, every corner, every safety that's coming and blitzing. They are trying to hurt you. Good
Yeah,
luck.
we still haven't done the draws yet.
Okay. Okay. Again, she just mentioned draws. We're not going to do the fantasy team, but $150.
No, but we can talk about who we think.
Yeah,
is
$150 cash to anyone that can correctly predict the men's finals, the women's finals, and both winners. So I think Djokovic, Zverev with Djokovic winning, and I think Swiatek, Sabalenka winning and solidifying her #1 spot. By the way, Sabalenka can become the #1 player in the world on the women's side as long as she goes one round better than Swiatek.
I actually believe I actually picked Sabalenka to win this time. I think it's hers. Her or Coco Gauff. I picked one of the two to win. I did write a few upsets that I thought would happen. Do we start with the men?
I'm turning the draws over to you, Carla.
I mean, I'm not gonna go through every match, but let's start.
Okay, let's put it this. Carla, review the draws, at least some nuggets that you saw when you were drawing out yours, and I drew out mine.
Rublev doesn't have a chance.
And let's talk about maybe some dark horses.
So, like, I put here, where's the one I put? Upset. The first thing I saw in the top women's was Haddad against Sloane Stephens.
Good match.
I feel like New York, come on. This is where she won her U.S. Open, right?
Yeah.
She has a chance to beat Haddad.
Against who? Madison Keys, wasn't it?
No, yeah, she won against Madison. But I feel like Sloane's actually can do very well.
Don't forget about Jessica Pegula in there.
The other one I looked at, another one was Kalalina and Sorribes Tormo. I think Sorribes Tormo's grunts do some damage.
Blow your eardrums out.
Blow your eardrums. I think that's another upset.
So you think Sorribes Tormo should be on the hindrance list of the grunts?
I mean, the other thing I was looking at here was Muhova. You know, Muhova is due for a slam. She's in this bottom half. I think she could do really good.
She's no more due for a slam than Pliskova is.
Pliskova will never win a slam.
Just like Muhova.
No, never. Another thing I saw here was Townsend. The two Americans will face each other.
I wrote her down.
But I really feel like Muhova, I'm looking at it, Rybakina, Muhova, I face each other.
Wait a minute, Rybakina's got
Rybakina.
Doesn't Rybakina have Collins in the first round? Who does Rybakina has a big first round match? Kostyuk. Oh, snap.
I hope she beats her.
So Rybakina, she's Uzbekistan, is that correct? Is it Rybakina from Uzbekistan? Russia, basically. So we're going to have Kostyuk, the Ukrainian, against basically a Russian in the first round. You know, that's got propaganda written all over it. I bet you Kostyuk wears that yellow dress that somehow she got Wilson to give her because she
Rybakina has way too much class. Yeah, she's from Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
Russian, yeah. But I mean, I feel like that there's not going to be any drama. I think Rybakina can take care of that.
Thank you, Gene.
Then we have Coco Gauff here. Coco Gauff, I mean, first round, winnable. Second round, she'll get possibly the Russian girl you guys mentioned, the 16-year-old. Where is she? Let me go back. Oh, yeah.
Fruhvirtova?
Not Fruhvirtova. Here she is. Mira Andreeva.
Yeah.
There's some of you guys mentioning her.
Yeah.
She could possibly face Coco Gauff. That could be a good match.
Yeah.
Then I don't feel like Swiatek will do well at the U.S. Open.
You know, I think she's humbled down a bit. You know, I think just when you play a match, right? And I wrote the same thing. It's not that I don't think Swiatek will win. I just think she's been on top for a while. She's been a target long enough. And I think that players and their teams, that is opponents, have trained and studied enough film in their game to feel a little bit more confident. So I think the more, you know, I think, you know, at this level of tennis, it's about guessing sometimes the right way. You know, if I'm a serving volleyer in the, you know, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, you know, I approach and I sometimes just have to guess this person's going to go cross court. I feel like people have studied enough film where they can kind of look at the patterns a little bit more and have a better chance of guessing correctly than not.
I feel like the top of, you know, where you have Swiatek and you have Coco Gauff, I feel like that's a better side than this one. I was looking at this. I was like Garcia on the top. I was like, not really interesting. Alexandrova, I was like, Samsonova, I was like, Keys, Litovina, I was like, kind of weak.
Dushan, what's up?
I feel like Pegula can get through that. I mean, she should get through that. I mean, the only thing I saw there was Keys, maybe. Vondrusheva, maybe. I thought it kind of a boring
second bottom.
Yeah, and Dushan, what's up, bro? I saw Dushan Drama King out there, OG since nearly day one. I saw that that Coco off, and we watched this. Our kids were playing a tournament. Our kids, we know we have 5 children, hence the name, but our 2 oldest are in college, but our 3 youngest played a tournament. Was it last weekend or the weekend before?
The weekend
before, and they all 3 won their divisions. Lily girls 16s, Justin boys 10s, even though he's 7, and Gabriella girls 12s. And during that day, Coco Gauff was playing Swiatek. And, there was people crowded around this thing. It was great. It was great to see it. But we can't forget that Swiatek walking into that match, correct me if I'm wrong, I know Michael Walker will. I think that Swiatek was something like 7 or 8-0.
7-0.
And Coco Gauff got that first one. That's great. It was on the home field advantage in the U.S. and she'll have that same luxury at the.
Well, I always say
US.
There's always a rule I go by, and I hope I'm wrong this time. Whenever you win that many hardcourt tournaments or any tournament before a Grand Slam, you tend to do real shitty when you get to the Grand Slams.
Yeah, and Alani has a good knowledge drop here, and I have this written here. Gauff has a potential Swiatek matchup in the quarterfinals. And by the way, speaking of quarterfinals, potential matchups, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't Sasha or Alexander Zverev have a potential quarterfinal matchup with Carlitos Alcaraz?
Yeah, he's got to go through Murray. I don't know. Murray could be tough too for him.
I'm not worried about Murray. I just don't know. I didn't play well.
Zverev might use his neck and go snap.
I know.
On his hip.
No.
Snap on his hip.
Not worried about stressed out.
Maybe Zverev could snap his hip with his neck now, just snap it.
Yeah, no, let me break out 2 players real quick. Felix Auger-Aliassime, who we've always had a lot of respect for. I remember him just turning pro, and we were like, look at this guy. He looks very mature. He's very relaxed. He's got the look. He's a handsome young man. And then he pairs up with Tony Nadal and has some glimpses of his success. And here we kind of back are in that, 20, 21, 22 ranked and seeded in tournaments. Is it destiny for Felix Auger-Aliassime to kind of hang out in that 20 area? Is it destiny?
No. I thought didn't they split?
Yeah, I think so. What I'm saying is if Tony Nadal wasn't able to get him over that,
maybe you don't need a famous coach.
Yeah.
Have you thought of that?
Maybe so.
Anyways, we skipped the whole women's. Let's go back to the women's.
Let's go.
Sabalenka, I really don't see a threat there. I didn't see Pliskova giving her a threat. I didn't see Kasatkina nor Kenin. Venus will win 1 round, lose the next to Bekic. Jabeur is just lost mentally. I don't feel like she could beat a Sabalenka. And Pegula, she's good for a semifinal. She's a semifinal type of player. That's her goal.
You don't think she has a chance at the final?
No. You need firepower. She doesn't have it.
She's got heart, though.
She's got heart. You need firepower.
And she. By the way,
you need firepower to win a slam.
There is a bit of.
Ostapenko has a better chance.
I disagree there. Ostapenko is so damn fat. She looks like the Michelin tire boy. Ostapenko, oh damn girl, you so big. Ostapenko, oh damn girl, you need to lose some weight. Okay.
Did she lose some weight? I thought she did.
I don't know, but either way, she's a bi. You know what? But if who were we just talking about before Ostapenko? Pegula, yes. Pegula, there is something important about home field advantage. Now, Pegula's father owns the Buffalo Bills. And he owns the hockey team out of Buffalo. I think it's the Sabres. Is that right? I might be wrong. But she has a large silver spoon stuck in her racket bag.
Oh, she hasn't made a semifinal, so she's a quarterfinal.
Yeah. So the thing is when we get into the thick of it, the trenches, the battle, the warfare. Let's look at war. Let's look at, the Ukrainian-Russian thing. How many of the oligarchs or how many of the Ukrainian royalty, whatever, how many of their kids are in the front lines in the trenches? Probably none. Like Vladimir Putin, I don't know if he has a child or not. I'm making something up. Probably his son is in the trenches in Bakhmut. And I'm guessing that Zelensky, if he has a child, his child is in the front line at 14 years of age in Bakhmut or Kramatorsk or whatever. So what I'm getting at is Jessica Pegula, being that she is that metaphorical of billionaires, whatever. I'm guessing if there's trench warfare or someone like Alcaraz throwing her, chemical weapons junk, slices head and mixing it all up, I don't know if that lifetime silver spoon will allow her to dig.
Well, she's 0 for 6 in slam quarterfinals. She hasn't even made a semifinal. And that's my point. And that's why I think Sabalenka will be a breeze through that. You know, she's got someone like Jaborda mentally. I mean, she's just good. I feel like this is Sabalenka's tournament to win.
Yeah. And you know, Tupac back in the day in the 90s said it perfectly. I was born without a silver spoon. My broken down TV show cartoons in the living room. Hey, one day I hope I make it. In other words, when we aren't spoiled with everything and we earn that something, it means more and we fight harder.
It's, you know, you laugh.
What?
I don't know.
What?
He can actually rap, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me run down my list.
Let's go to the men.
All right, I'm going to run down this list real quick. By the way, I'm on the last 2 pages. We wanted to give a shout out to Darren LeBeau.
Yes.
Okay, Darren LeBeau. He's in London, UK. Fine tennis player. A long time friend, and we wanted to say hello to Darren.
Hope you're doing all right, man.
Hope you're doing okay, bro. 139.54. Make sure you
know
send that to him.
he's pretty brave. He talks about, I guess, his battle, what he's been going through, some stuff that, you know, maybe some of us have been in that situation.
Yeah.
He was homeless, by the way. He became homeless.
Yeah. And a successful tennis player ended up homeless.
He became homeless, and you know, his friends reached out, and you know, some donations were made, and he was able to find a place, and they're helping him out, and you know, maybe he needs to get back to coaching or something. Yeah. To help him battle whatever he's going through.
And Darren knows he can holler at us anytime. Wonderful, beautiful daughter, by the way, and an amazing, to say the least, an amazing tennis player, an amazing coach, and an amazing video maker that does things like trick shots that take a lot of time to finally make that shot and to edit that in there. We know the feeling, believe me. Darren, we love you a lot, man, and all the best.
I was surprised when I saw his picture. I was kind of hurt. It hurt me to see him like that. I said, wow. I said, you know, when we talked to Darren the last time, I would never sense that he was going through something, whatever he was going through. Yeah,
no doubt about that. Her catch, you know, her catch, you know, he's made what, Wimbledon final or U.S. Open final. Anyway, he's been hanging around here this season, and no one's, you know, really talked about her.
I think he's gonna retire Isner. He will retire Isner
and send him off. And by the way, congratulations, Isner, for a wonderful career. Being the serve bot that you are, I'm sure you hold the world record along with Ivo Karlovic for having the most sets finished at 6-7 or 7-6. So appreciate that. I'm guessing he's probably got some of the most aces of all time. You might want to throw in what's his name that won a Wimbledon that coaches Ivanisevic, Goran. You might want to throw Ivanisevic in there, Ivo Karlovic, some of those other serve bots. Let's get up a list of serve bots. Let's go with quick serve bots. Even
we got one that's injured.
Raonic. And Raonic is fixing to play Tsitsipas in the first round.
Raonic. By the way, I predicted that will be an upset. Raonic will beat Tsitsipas.
Okay.
Did you guys see the you know, he lost a lot of weight?
Raonic. You ever seen that movie Tommy Boy with Chris, what's his name? Chris Farley? Is that his name? And David Spade, and they're like driving a car, and the nitrous leaks out of the tank, and they're sitting there in the middle of the road. They think they're driving real fast, and the police officer pulls over like, "Hey, do you have any idea how fast you were going?" And he's like, "Raonic." That's what I think about when I hear Raonic, because it's like Raonic is kind of like a road.
Yeah, I put here upset alert right there.
All right, Ostapenko. Oh, will Ostapenko look once again like the Michelin tire mascot? I think so. She's pretty big. And
let's go back to Court. Oh no, we were talking about Korda.
Korda?
Yeah.
Sebastian Korda.
Yeah.
Who will have a better career when they're all said and done, Sebastian Korda or his dad?
What other upsets do I need to predict? The other one I thought was Thiem upsetting Bublik. I think Thiem will upset Bublik.
I don't think first round. I don't think that's an upset.
But he's the 25th seed.
They're kind of like level.
He's the 25th seed. That would be an upset.
But, you know, sure. Outside the top 5 or 6, that's irrelevant. You know, I
don't know. The other one I said was Jiri. Jiri's going to go down to Nakashima.
Okay, let's talk about, for me, the most important match of the entire tournament in terms of the first round. Okay, we got this battle in Ukraine that's not about territory anymore. It's about East and West ideology. So we got Kostyuk, the girl that all of a sudden is thrived into the limelight because of her wanting attention, kind of like the soccer player is playing Rybakina. Who wins that match and what's the score?
Rybakina, what's taking 2 sets?
If anybody can correctly predict that match, I'll send them 2 sets of Y-Tech strings or the equal amount of cash.
The other one I thought was a be up says Dimitrov and Murray. I think Murray will beat Dimitrov.
Do they play each other?
In the second round if they make it there? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know if either one will win the first.
I think they will.
Okay.
I definitely think they will.
We mentioned earlier in the show that Novak Djokovic, Nole, Joker Nole, goes back to #1 in the world if he beats Mueller tomorrow night. Aryna Sabalenka will overtake Swiatek as #1 in the world on the women's side if she makes it 1 round further than Swiatek. We were talking about the draws, and I mentioned let's bring up some dark horses.
Berrettini's back in there. Did you see that?
Well, I thought more besides Berrettini.
Berrettini's going to beat Humbert.
I thought more of Kokkinakis.
I did pick Kokkinakis to go pretty far, actually. I actually picked him. Because I actually did my whole thing, and I had Kokkinakis going all the way. Where are you, Kokkinakis? Where is Kokkinakis? Let's see. Here. I think he'll stop when he meets Alcaraz in the 4th round.
And maybe he even has a shot there. They look kind of similar, except Kokkinakis is way taller and a little bit lighter in the skin. Okay.
Hurkacz is another dark horse.
Yeah. Well, he's made a major final before, though. So I wouldn't call him a dark horse.
Tiafoe could be another
maybe
one.
Tiafoe, except that big, rigid forehand
Tiafoe definitely.
It's going to cost him. So Casper Ruud, by the way, Casper Ruud last year made the final and lost to Carlos Alcaraz. I hate to pick on Casper Ruud, but has he seen his has he seen his last major final?
Yes.
He will not make another major final.
I don't know. Who knows? Men's tennis, right?
Okay, as always, I'm going to end it with 2 lizard tales. So, as you all know, if you follow this channel, my father back in the 80s wrote a book along with my mother. He would go out on an aircraft carrier and he would be gone for months at a time, and he would write these 1-page philosophies of life, and it was published into a book, and it didn't get a lot of publication. Again, this was long before the internet and blah, 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 blah. So I said, you know what? I grew up watching this be written. It didn't get a lot of popularity, so I'll read it to do the best I can to share his original thought in the first place. So I'm going to go random 2, and each one is very much something that he felt he could relate to others by speaking from a lizard's point of view. So I'm going to pick one, and this one's a short one. And this one is called rapid like fast, rapid scanning lizards. Okay, so this is on this page here, and it goes something like this. This is
it looks like Justin.
Rapid. So I got chicken legs like the lizards.
No, it looks like it.
Okay,
I got a chicken leg right there.
All right, so this one was written on. I got to put my glasses on. And I got contacts in.
Oh, how cute.
Oh, I can see a lot better. All right, rapid scanning lizards for Justin, 27 September 1982. So I was 5. Yeah, 5. About to turn 6. Okay, rapid scanning lizards are very good little lizards. I saw 2 of these lizards today. I saw 2 of these lizards today. Mistaking my office for theirs, they stepped inside my door long enough to say, quote, in medicine, would you say a history is incomplete? The other one replies, whenever it counts. I didn't really follow that one. My dad's a retired doctor, by the way. Let me read that one again in case I missed that one.
Yeah.
Rapid scanning lizards. Rapid scanning lizards are very good little lizards. I saw 2 of these lizards today. Mistaking my office for theirs, they stepped inside my door long enough to say, in medicine, would you say a history is incomplete? The other one says, whenever it counts. Totally lost me on that one. But nonetheless, we read it. So that's 1 down. All right, last one. And let's go. This one is called monsoon lizards. I guess that's fitting, monsoon lizards, because it's hurricane season here in Alabama. And those that you know, we do hurricane videos. We lost our house in one a couple years ago here, videoed it. I was on the news and got like 800,000 views off that thing. Okay, this one was as well. Coincidence was written for me on 24 January 1982. So here we go. Monsoon lizards. Monsoon lizards are very good little lizards. By the edge of the sea one day, I saw two of them looking at a shell. They were watching and talking for the longest time, but it wasn't close enough to hear. I finally got closer and I heard the older one say, "Things that look complicated may not be." The other one says, "Things that look simple rarely are." Pretty good one.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good one. Hitting a forehand may be simple to me, but it may be really difficult with someone that's never played. Someone that's played tennis for their entire life, the score, you may not even have to think about it. But if I meet a new 5-year-old that's never played and has no idea what the baseline is, or love, or 15 or 30 or 40 and the importance thereof, it might be quite difficult to them, right? If I was raised being abused and manipulated and so forth, I may not know the simplicity of being loved or to love others. I do know one thing, though, that being kind is important because everyone you meet is fighting a tough battle. Okay? Proof is in the pudding. Be kind, things are better. Not kind, things turn to shit in a hurry. Okay? Let's go! Peace out. We'll see you soon. Tomorrow, by the way, just to give you a heads up on the rest of the U.S. Open, tomorrow, our work day, and not that you care, but just to give you a heads up, our alarm clock goes off. Just saying, I don't want you to think we're lazy or anything, but our alarm clock goes off at 4:30. The schools that the 3 youngest children that we have are an hour away, at 55 minutes to the T, as long as there's no traffic. And the first one has to be at school at like 6:50, 7 o'clock. The next one's 7:10, 7:20, and the last one at 8. And we're an hour away, so we usually leave out here about 6:30, 6:45 or so. We do that, and then by the time we drop the last one off, we come back and start grooming courts and teach, and then we have to pick them up for 2 or 3, and then we teach until 6 or 7, and then they do their homework, and then we drive an hour back. We get home on average about 9 o'clock at night, and that's 6 days a week. We've been without rain for a long time, hence why we haven't been able to do some earlier in the day. But it looks like we're going to have some rain this week. But I would rather be teaching. I hate to say it, I love all of you, but teaching, there's no more passionate thing in life that Carla and I enjoy to do than to create, especially from the first ball. Like Sophie, for example. Sophie's a young student of ours, and we taught her from the first ball, just starting a year and a half ago, and she just won her first tournament last week. That's the type of thing that really gets us off. For those of you coaches out there, you know you ain't rich. But one thing you are rich in is emotions. And those emotions sometimes want to kill us. Oh my God, I have a heart attack. I can't believe you lost this shit. I can't believe you played like shit. What the fuck are you doing? And then sometimes it's like, you played great. And it's just that juggle to find that even Steven energy that we live for. Okay?
The heat has been terrible. Like today, it's 103, not counting the heat index. It's been horrible. Yeah. All right, guys. Adios. Time to enjoy our day off and maybe watch some tennis.
Let's go.
Bye-bye.